Hey everyone, welcome to Talking Sports, episode number 2. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew Volkman. This is my co-host, Miles Schild.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How we doing?
So today we're gonna try to organize everything a little bit more. We're gonna go over our segments for a second. We have some little tidbits that we're gonna catch you up on in the NFL world. Then we're gonna talk about our QAQB with JJ McCarthy, and we're gonna round off the episode with Jair Alexander. The Green Bay Packers, which will include Jair Alexander. Watch for Shield's spicy situations sometime in this episode. You'll hear it when you hear it. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Before we do that, we're gonna talk about address the episode schedule. Just with the busy schedules that both me and Miles have, it's gonna be very difficult for us to have a firm schedule. I mean, this is gonna be roughly almost 2 weeks after we record the first episode. I'm gonna have final exams coming up this week and the rest of the school year, of course. And I don't know what Miles has, but he's gonna have a play and
All
some other
right,
stuff
we
too.
don't need to bore them. Yeah, we're just gonna be a little bit busy. But let's get into it.
All right, so talking about some tidbits here. Let's start off with the head coaches being fired from the NFL. We got Antonio Pierce being fired from the Raiders, and just a day later, the GM of the Raiders was also fired.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but we have breaking news. Mike Vrabel has just been hired as the head coach of the New England Patriots. I mean, what do you think about that?
It's a little weird, and considering the situation surrounding Mayo's hiring, you would think that he would be the guy there for many years. You would think, but Vrabel, he's familiar with that Patriots community, so it makes a lot of sense. I mean, people were thinking that he would be the one that replaced Bill Belichick when he got fired last offseason.
Yeah. So I like Mike Vrabel. I love Mike Vrabel. I think he's a really good coach. I didn't think the Titans should have fired him. Um, but the Patriots are getting what they want. They have a former player. He's on the younger side of some of the coaches. Um, and he played for the Patriots, so he has that connection. So I'm really excited to see uh, what the Patriots can do with this.
Yeah, and now we're gonna shift gears into tidbits a little bit. Let's talk about Ravens and Steelers, some of the wild card games. Lamar Jackson went 16 for 21 with 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very solid game for him. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Isaiah Likely, 3 receptions for 53 yards, the leading receiver for the Ravens. So it was a run-heavy offense for the Ravens last night at the time of recording, for us at least. Steelers, Russell Wilson, 20 for 29, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. No interceptions. Very good to see because he's had a little bit of issues with that over the last few weeks. And Najee Harris had 6 carries and 17 yards and wasn't a factor in this game, and neither was Jalen Warren. He wasn't even the leading rusher for the Steelers per ESPN's leading rusher category. Then George Pickens, 5 catches, 87 yards, and 1 touchdown. For the Chargers and Texans, Justin Herbert, 242 yards, 14 for 32, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. So, I mean, the Texans in that game, they got most of their points off the turnovers in that game.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone Justin Herbert had 3 interceptions the whole year before that. So that is crazy. Not only that, some of these interceptions weren't even his fault, right? He was thrown out to the tight end and it bounced off of his chest and into the hands of one of the defenders. I mean, it just shows there's no receivers besides Lad McConkey. What were his stats?
Lad McConkey had 9 receptions, 197 yards, and a touchdown, the only touchdown for the Chargers. For the Texans, C.J. Stroud, 22 for 33, 282 yards, a touchdown, and 1 interception. And then Joe Mixon, 25 carries, 106 yards, and 1 touchdown. And finally, Nico Collins, 7 receptions, 122 yards, and 1 touchdown. I want to talk about real quick for the Texans special teams unit on that block kick that ended up being a touchdown. What do you think of that? I mean, we watched it live. It was crazy in real time.
It wasn't a touchdown.
Not a touchdown.
No, they got 2 points.
I know. I keep thinking touchdown, but it was a 2-point conversion. Sorry, everybody.
No, you're good. But yeah, I mean, the Texans came in ready to win. And we've seen, the Texans dominate, and we've seen them get dominated. And they came to play, and they look like a team that are giving the Chiefs a run for their money.
Yeah, I don't know about the giving the Chiefs a run for the money part because CJ Stroud doesn't look great as good as last year, but there's also the possibility the Chargers charge it in the playoffs. But Miles has something a little bit for the NFL draft, so let's hear this.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of the draft order has been set. The Titans have number 1, Browns 2, Giants 3, Patriots 4, Jaguars 5. That's the top 5. There's an interesting thing, an article I read, and it's about fathers controlling where their son gets drafted. And we are seeing that with Deion Sanders, who has said that, or he has made it clear that there are teams he does not want Shedeur to play for. Is that the Titans? Is that the Browns? Right? Are we going to see an Arch Manning, Eli Manning, where Arch doesn't want to play there, Eli doesn't want to play there, but they still get drafted? He still gets drafted and then traded, right? Are we going to see the Titans draft Shedeur Sanders and trade him to the Raiders? Right? So I think there's a lot of question marks when you're drafting a Sanders.
Yeah, 100%. And on the topic of the draft, you got a little something else there about the Patriots, and we just talked about the Patriots getting Mike Vrabel. Is Vrabel gonna insert something new that Gerard Mayo didn't have, and maybe like bring something back that Bill Belichick had, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. And this goes into Schild's spicy situation. I'm super excited. It's my first little hot take thing. It's the Patriots' 4th overall pick. Will they trade it? They need a receiver, right? And at that point, there's a good chance Travis Hunter could be off the board. So, if that is to happen, I truly believe the Patriots will trade that 4th overall pick for a receiver. Who, you may ask? You may be like, what? Who? Right? DK Metcalf. I'm so excited if this was to happen, right? We've heard DK Metcalf's name be on the trade block before, but there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding that Seahawks team. And, getting DK out, getting the 4th pick, getting some young guy, bringing him in, I think that'd be really good for this team. And on my little free agent mock, I have Keenan Allen of the Bears also going. He's signing with the Patriots. So that would be the Patriots bringing in Keenan Allen and DK Metcalf to catch the ball for a very good potential Drake May.
Yeah, and we saw that with the Bears this year. They brought in Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze in the draft. Not Keenan Allen in the draft. They traded for him from the Chargers to surround him with great weapons for Caleb Williams. So, I mean, theoretically, it could work. And I mean, the Texans did that a little bit. I mean, Nico Collins was there. They brought in Stephon Diggs this year, brought in Joe Mixon. So, I mean, these young quarterbacks, they could have very good weapons going into next season. Let's shift gears a little bit into our next section, the QAQB. And that QAQB this week is JJ McCarthy and his uncertain future. And now, if you're not really following the Vikings, Sam Darnold, who was brought in to kind of be a backup for JJ McCarthy before he tore his meniscus, has lit it up this year with the Vikings. So, what? There's a lot of rumors, and Miles has more information on that right here.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what QAQB means, it's questions about quarterback. So with this, last episode we really focused on Sam Darnold going to a different place. But the more we've seen of Sam Darnold, the more I'm thinking, gosh, this guy's 27 years old. He could still play another 10 years in the league. So I think, with that, JJ McCarthy, why take a risk when you already got something? Don't fix something that's not broke. Uh, so I think a lot of teams like JJ McCarthy, and I think honestly that they could get more for him than they gave up. So, I think they could get a first round pick for him with a third and a fourth. I think a team like the Seahawks could be interested. The Steelers could be interested, right? They could completely wipe out that quarterback room and, start over again. So I think there's a lot of, interesting scenarios that could happen for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, and I like the Steelers one for sure. And I could see a world where if McCarthy does go to the Steelers, that maybe the Steelers work out something with Russ to be a mentor, maybe kind of like what Kirk wasn't really supposed to be in Atlanta, but now he really is for Michael Penix. And so we could maybe see that with the Steelers getting McCarthy, bringing back Russell Wilson. And talking about Kirk Cousins, you saw a thing that Kirk Cousins and the Falcons are content with him being the QB2 in Atlanta and kind of being like a mentor for Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta.
Yeah, and at least for one more year, I think they might just hold on to him. There's a financial benefit. They're saving money, keeping him. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, so that's a little our first QAQB. But now as we get into our final segment, Green Bay Packers. Now this is going to be a very lengthy discussion and a lot of opinions and a lot of possibilities here. So let's start with this. The Packers at the time of recording are going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in the wild card series. No Christian Watson, and looks like, I mean, of course, no Jair Alexander, and there's a lot of questions surrounding Jair Alexander and his future with the team. And I recently saw a little article done by Tom Grossi, believe it or not, the YouTuber, biggest Packer fan in the world, I would say, and he laid out some options that the Packers could have for Jair Alexander. And the first option is get DJ Reed, a highly touted free agent from the Jets, and either cut or trade Jair Alexander, or they keep Jair for the rest of his deal, and his deal ends in 2026. So there's some financial benefits with both cutting Jair Alexander, and there's a lot more to lose with Jair and keeping him because there no more guaranteed money, and there's a little bit of dead cap, $18 million. The Packers are going to have to eat that no matter what, and they could pay that off this year or spread it out the next 2 years. If they do cut him, it would have to be all in this season. So, Miles, what do you think?
Yeah. Jair Alexander, I think you can't deny the beginning of his career was good. We were excited. I mean, first round pick out of Louisville. He's looking very talented, and he played talented, which earned him the contract. Injuries and just overall struggling and a steady decline. I don't think it would be smart to bring him back.
No, and my opinion that the Packers will do is they will cut Jair Alexander this season and let him go into free agency because I don't believe the Packers or Jair will come to the table about restructuring the deal because that's just way too much money tied up with Jair, and there's no more guaranteed money. So what do the Packers have to lose? Not very much. And they could go get someone who's a little bit younger and has looked significantly better, and that's DJ Reed. And Packers made a splash in the offseason by getting Xavier McKinney. They brought in Evan Williams and a few other guys. Javon Bullard was another one there. So the Packers have options, but that's just my opinion. What's yours, Miles?
Yeah, I'm not sure what their thought process is, but Jair has over the past few years has caused some problems. You know, on and off the field. We all remember that game against the Panthers when he wasn't supposed to go on as a captain and almost cost us the game and got suspended for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he got suspended by the team. Now, you talk about injuries and for a cornerback, and we're going to talk about another guy, and that is Eric Stokes. And Eric Stokes, a first round pick in 2021, looked promising in his first season in the league. It wasn't great by any means, but it looked promising. And then his sophomore season had a massive knee injury, and that carried over into his third season. And this season was actually his first healthy season, and it's not been great. And there's two options here realistically with him. And you can probably guess what they are. You can either let him walk or try to negotiate maybe a short term deal. Maybe he'll want something that is more like a prove it deal. But realistically, seeing that he's played a full season, he's not going to want that. So realistically, looking here, Eric Stokes is probably not going to be a Packer anymore. And we've seen it with Darnell Savage. He got let go and went to the Jaguars. So Packers, there's options there with the cornerback room. And there's some opportunities to improve with DJ Reed, obviously, Siobhan Revel Jr. out of Eastern Carolina in the draft. There's someone that me and Miles are big fans of, Hunter Wooler, looking to be a 7th round pick. He may not make it in the league, but it'd be fun to see him on the Packers. And there's plenty of talent in the draft. And there's also Rasul Douglas in free agency if Packers want to target him instead of DJ Reed. But there's several things. There's options for the Packers.
Yeah. That's another thing. I don't think they feel like they need to bring back either of those guys. Again, Hunter Wooler in the draft. I mean, he may go before the 7th round too, 6th, 5th, 4th. So that'd be definitely cool to see him. Hopefully, he'll be on the show someday. Yeah.
Eventually, yeah, definitely. Now, shifting gears in the Packers organization a little bit, got to just talk about Matt LaFleur a little bit here because his decision making this season has been a little subpar. I would say the worst decision making he's made in his entire tenure as the Packers head coach. I mean, obviously keeping Christian Watson out there for that final game, and now he's out for the playoffs with the torn ACL. Jordan Love having him start. Now he's got an elbow injury. Malik Willis is also hurt. So there's several guys that Matt LaFleur has put in harm's way. And also his decision making on 4th down has been called into question. I know early in the season, people were calling for his head and calling him for to be fired. And I don't think that's necessary. I think that Matt LaFleur is a great head coach, but his decision making has to be a little bit better in the future, especially as the Packers transition into the playoffs. What do you think, Miles?
Yeah. I did not understand why they played Christian Watson because even if they win, they needed the Commanders to lose. The Commanders probably weren't going to lose, and they didn't lose. So even if they did win, they would have been in the same spot. Now next year, or at least the beginning of next year for Christian Watson, is in jeopardy because of this ACL injury, and it's not even his bad knee. So now he's got 2 bad knees. You got a banged up quarterback, and you're playing arguably one of the best teams in the league. This is not a position you want to be in. And I think that, maybe if we time traveled like a week back, we could have signed Odell Beckham Jr. or something. That would have been cool to see. But, maybe call up the Alex Mago, the quarterback turned receiver, and see what he can do.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about his play calling on 4th down. Packers have went for it when they were in the red zone and didn't convert. And that ended up being the difference in the game. They ended up giving up points on the next drive, or that field goal they could have taken, could have won the game. Just looking at some of the scores, it's not great. And so at this point in the playoffs, Matt LaFleur's got to say, okay, we got to take the points here. We can't take risks. If he doesn't do that, there's seriously something that you have to, you got to question his play calling and his decision making, because this has been, again, his worst season as a Green Bay Packers head coach, except when they didn't make the playoffs. But I would say his decision making that year was the best it's been. We can blame it on Aaron Rodgers not playing up to par. But this season, again, Matt LaFleur, the decision making, not great at all. And again, the play calling for guys like Jayden Reed, we all thought that he would be the number 1 guy alongside Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks. he hasn't been there. He's been getting a lot of jet sweeps, end arounds. So you got to give Jaden Reed more targets, especially going into the playoffs with Christian Watson out.
Yeah. And staying on that Packers topic, we're gonna do a little something new. We have a comment from one of our fans, Jim Gillespie. Thank you for listening, Jim. He asked, "Do you think the Packers have a championship quality defense?" What do you think, Andrew?
Definitely not. I mean, I like Jeff Hafley. I like everyone on that Packers defense: Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Kenny Clark. But the Packers just don't have it. The cornerback room and the safety room is so banged up. I mean, Zane Anderson has been ruled out with a concussion. I wouldn't say he was gonna play a big role, but Evan Williams is still questionable. Quay Walker is still questionable. I know Javon Bullard's gonna play, but the secondary room is just so banged up. And there are guys that are stepping in, like Keyshawn Nixon has done a solid job stepping in. Carrington Valentine has gotten better over the course of the season. Zane Anderson, like I just mentioned. Corey Ballantyne here and there has looked better. I don't really like Corey Ballantyne a lot, but no, I don't think the Packers have a championship winning defense. Again, Packers are a team that are young. They're the youngest team in the NFL. They're going to need another year or two to reach championship level contention. If we're not there in 1 or 2 years, it's not going to look good.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm saying to all the Packers fans listening. Cool it. Because we may not win the Super Bowl this year. We may not win it next year. We are a young team. I think you can start freaking out in like 3 or 4 years if we're not winning the Super Bowl. But we got a young team, injuries, we're going to see a whole new cornerback room, getting rid of 2 relatively big corners this year could be big. Seeing what we're doing year 2 of Josh Jacobs, who has been phenomenal, right? Bringing in some more draft picks. So I think we cannot freak out yet. I would agree with you. I don't think they have a defense that can win a championship. And I don't know if they even have a defense that can stop Saquon Barkley.
No, and I was, again, mentioning Tom Grossi here. He said, like, he pointed out someone who said, "Oh, this is already over. Like, it's the first," and he was like, "Well, it's the first quarter. We're down by only 2 scores. It's the first quarter. If you're already gonna say blow it all up, let's just put in Willis and take Love out of there. Why even watch the game, man? Like, some of you Packers fans out there, just gotta cool. I'm not talking to anyone in particular, but as Packer fans, as a community, I'm gonna hold myself accountable. We have to take a breath and look at the situation rationally and calmly and think, okay, we may not win this game. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers isn't here, but we don't need Aaron Rodgers. We have Jordan Love here now. Jordan Love is one of the better quarterbacks. I almost said one of the best quarterbacks. He's not one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. But you guys we got to cool it a little bit as Packers fans, as Packer Nation. But we can all do it together. We can cheer on the Green Bay Packers this weekend at the Philadelphia Eagles. Miles, any closing thoughts here before we wrap it up?
Yeah. I believe we'll beat the Eagles. And if we do beat the Eagles, you better watch out. Because if we're beating the Eagles, you're cooked. You are cooked. I mean, they have arguably one of the best running backs in the league. And it's all going to decide on that first play, that first drive that the Eagles put up, or the Packers. Whoever gets the ball first, however that first drive goes, will decide the outcome of this game.
Yeah, so, again, cheering on the Packers at the time of recording. It's currently 12:05. So, I mean, we still got 3 hours at the time of recording to get ready for the Packer game. So we'll just see what the future holds. We don't know when you will be listening to this, and you might already be thinking, well, why are these guys so optimistic? We lost. I'm not. I try not to speak it into existence, but I did. Go Pack, go! We are going to beat the Eagles. We did it last year with the Cowboys. We upset the Cowboys as a 7 seed. So,
ooh, Cowboys are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones objectively might be senile. So, so that's gonna wrap it up for us here talking sports. I'm Andrew.
I'm Miles. Thanks for
Bye.
listening. See ya.